Straight ahead on Valley News Live at 10, see why energy conservation efforts in one Clay County town has some locals steamed. Plus,
we've had a hard time keeping up the supply.
Carbon monoxide detectors flying off shelves in the valley, why experts say you need more than one, and where you should put them.
And travel trouble. See what's behind thousands of flight cancellations today. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Stay safe this week. Don't go out if it's too cold. Stay in the house. Drink some hot chocolate.
Oh, with temperatures staying above zero for a change tonight. Barely. Some in the valley try to squeeze in at least one night of some outdoor fun before the bottom drops out again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Betty.
And I'm Stacy Van Dyke. Hutch says the temperatures are about to take another dive, but not before some of us are hit with another snowstorm. Hutch joins us straight away with those details. Hutch.
Seems like a broken record, same old song and dance right as we headed into the Christmas holiday. And similarly, we're going to get hit with some snow, and then gusty northwest winds are going to tug down some Arctic cold into the valley. First alert weather days have been declared by our team, so you can get that first alert to what's going on Tuesday and into Wednesday. We're going to start to see that snow develop as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. And by Wednesday morning, here's a look at snowfall potential as we see the dark blue shades here, basically I-94 out into Minnesota and points north. Solid bet for 2 to 6 inches plus. And we'll see some isolated pockets with 4 to 8 plus. It will not be uncommon to hear of some 10-inch totals possibly with this system. And this 0 to 3 up here, I'm not convinced. I think you're going to get a little bit more up in that area. Farther south you go, I think that's where we're going to see things drop off with this particular system. Either side of 0 for most, but look at that, Fergus Falls, a balmy 12 right now. Winter storm watches in place. We do not have one in place for central Minnesota, but you will get wintry conditions, just maybe not as gusty of wind as our North Dakota and Valley counties do. Here's the system getting started out by Missoula, Montana, and it's heading our way. We'll have hour-by-hour details on when it starts in your neighborhood, when it ends in your neighborhood, how much snow you can expect. And actually, there's new forecast model data rolling in during the broadcast. I'm going to refresh everything here during the show. We'll get the latest out to you. That's coming up in Maine weather in just a few moments.
All right, thank you, Hutch.
More people are cranking up the heat as freezing temperatures continue in the region, and exposure to carbon monoxide can be more likely this winter.
As Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor reports, some stores are even having a hard time keeping carbon monoxide detectors on their shelves.
I just stopped in to pick up a carbon monoxide detector.
It's the time of year when many people should be thinking about checking or replacing their carbon monoxide detectors.
My batteries just went off on my carbon monoxide detector, and so it told me that it was at the end of its life.
Naomi says she always makes sure to keep her detectors running properly.
We have several gas appliances, and I'm always kind of aware that, you know, if there is something that happens with any of those, I know that we may not understand or realize that something happens till it's too late.
And it's far too common that many homes do not have working detectors.
It's always important to have them up and running and working.
The unfortunate tragedy in Moorhead, where 7 people died due to carbon monoxide, is serving as a reminder.
That was kind of a wake-up call.
Now, the safety equipment is in high demand. The manager at this Ace Hardware store says they have sold more carbon monoxide detectors this month than they have all year. But if you're a person looking to get your hands on one, there's a chance you may not be able to right away.
We've had a hard time keeping up with the supply. We've sold about 3 dozen over the past 2 weeks. We normally don't see that many sales in a couple months, but in the last couple weeks we've seen that many, and so I've doubled my orders.
But if you happen to snag one, this is where they should go.
You should have them on every level of your home, and you should also have them outside any hallways, outside bedrooms.
Those that already have them, you should be testing them monthly or at least every 6 months. And you can do that by pushing the test button on many models. And if the detectors beep, don't ignore them.
Beeps tell you something very specific. There's the number of beeps has a message for you, and it's really important for you to listen to it.
In Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
And depending on the detector, the beeps can mean different things. Either the equipment or batteries need to be replaced, or it's picking up actual carbon monoxide in your home.
Another problem we see every year, pipes freezing in the cold, then bursting once they thaw. That's exactly what happened today at Diener's Diner in West Fargo. The business said they weren't able to open all day due to the burst pipe. To prevent a similar disaster in your home or business, experts recommend calling a professional and insulating your pipes.
A Barnesville man wrote into our Whistleblower Hotline asking us to dig into why the city shut off their hot water heater this weekend when temperatures were so dangerously low. City officials say it's just part of living in Barnesville. The city controls the amount of energy residents use, and when that usage gets too high, they could turn it off. Over the holiday weekend, the combination of the extreme cold, everyone had their heat on, and everyone being at home, it's the weekend, led at least one family to running out of hot water. And with more cold weather on the way, it could happen again.
It could potentially be off and on and off and on and off and on, like we had this weekend.
City officials we talked to say it's an automatic system that turns off your hot water 45 minutes off, 15 minutes on, until citywide energy usage gets below their threshold. Swenson suggests staggering your energy use throughout the day and conserving as much hot water as possible during the busy hours before school and work in the morning, and then after school and work in the evening. If you need help with an issue, text or call our Whistleblower Hotline. That number you see here on your screen. Just call, leave your tip. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it.
New for you tonight at 10, Bemidji police are asking for your help finding a 15-year-old boy. They say he may be near Grand Forks. Timothy Correa was reported as a runaway on Saturday. He was last seen Saturday night around 9:30. Police say they don't have a photo of Timothy, but they say he's 5'10", 180 pounds, was last seen wearing a red sweatshirt, black sweats, and American flag cowboy boots. If you have any information, you're asked to contact Bemidji police at the number on your screen. Meanwhile, the search continues for a missing Sidney, Montana woman with ties to Grand Forks. Police say 26-year-old Caitlin Berry has been missing for nearly 2 weeks. She was last seen at her home on December 21st. Caitlin's mother is the Grand Forks Assistant State's Attorney. Law enforcement were able to find her cell phone at her home on December 29th. We'll continue to follow this story for you as it develops. 2 people are dead following a car crash in Alexandria, Minnesota tonight. Police there say the crash happened at 7:45 p.m. when a car crashed into a semi-tractor and trailer, blocking both lanes of traffic on 34th Avenue West. The driver and passenger died on the scene. The semi-driver and their passenger were not injured. Names of both drivers and more details haven't been released.
Some breaking national news tonight. After 4 months of testimony, a jury has now reached a verdict in the criminal fraud trial of Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes. The jury found the blood testing company owner guilty on 4 counts of fraud and conspiracy and not guilty on 4 other felony charges. So it's a mixed verdict. They remain deadlocked on 3 more counts of wire fraud. She now faces up to 20 years in prison as well as potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines.
The North Dakota Oil and Gas Division says 400 barrels of produced water spilled yesterday 7 miles north of Tioga. Liberty Midstream Solutions reported that freezing temperatures caused a pump leak at the Stomping Horse service well, but it was contained and recovered.
President Biden's beginning the new year focusing on rising meat prices. Today he spoke with farmers, ranchers, and independent processors about his administration's plans to the billion-dollar cut costs from the American Rescue Plan Act to help cut costs. The goal is to help smaller meat packing facilities expand to help increase competition and drive down prices.
4 big corporations control more than half of the markets in beef, pork, and poultry. Without meaningful competition, farmers and ranchers don't get to choose who they sell to.
The president also looking to clarify the Product of USA label, which now also applies to meat raised overseas but processed here in the U.S. Many schools are changing their COVID-19 policies as they start the new year.
The Moorhead School District is transitioning to making masks optional. That started for pre-K students today. High schoolers January 17th. The middle schools will be mask optional starting January 31st and elementary students on February 14th. The decisions were made at a school board meeting back on December 13th, citing the availability of the COVID vaccine for kids.
Though the Omicron variant is less severe, generally speaking, than other strains of COVID-19, experts say the dramatic increase in cases has still led to an increase in hospitalizations, especially among kids. New CDC data shows number of children hospitalized for COVID per day over the last week rose to 378 nationwide. It's up 66%. It also surpasses the 342 per day reported for back to school back in early September. The CDC says teens who are unvaccinated are 10 times more likely to be hospitalized than kids of the same age who are fully vaccinated.
And we have a winner in the annual Battle of the Badges blood drive. After winning for the past 2 years, the police department was defeated by the fire department. Team Fire won with 76 units of donated blood compared to 72 units by Team Law. So pretty close there.
Yeah.
Both teams say they're looking forward to next
Almost
year.
150 units altogether. That's a lot. Still ahead tonight, thousands of flight cancellations piling up all across the country. We'll detail a very messy end to the holiday travel season.
And our forecast is looking very wintry, and it's going to get that way for that Tuesday evening commute for many of us. And by Wednesday morning, it remains very tricky as wind and snow will play a big role. After that, we get cold. I'll have details in your hour-by-hour forecast on what you can expect right after this.